Tonight on True Hollywood Story.
In Brooklyn, New York, I was born and raised. In the classroom was where I spent most of my days. Went to different colleges and went to different schools. Always got straight A's, I am not a fool. 1930, I got my degree. You could say I'm becoming a master in psychology. Brooklyn College is where I started teaching. I developed new theories to give psych a different meaning. As my time on earth began to proceed,
I came up with the idea of the hierarchy of needs. In 1951, I was the head of Psych at Brandeis University. I stayed at the job till I passed in 1970.
Hello, you guys. For today's show, we have an interesting piece on Abraham Maslow. Let's get right into the show. For our first guest, we have his mother, Rose Maslow. How are you doing today, Rose?
I'm well, thank you for having me on the show, Mr. Russell.
You're an immigrant from Russia, correct? Explain to us how, you left your country because you're being persecuted for your religion.
Yes, there were sad times indeed.
Why did you choose New York?
Well, Brooklyn has a nice multicultural neighborhood where my 7 children could have a good education and upbringing.
Wow, what a story. Well, now let's talk about Abraham. Was he always so intelligent?
Yes, of course, he was always a bright child. He never failed to make his father proud.
Yes, he was always brilliant, and I knew he was going to achieve great things in life.
Oh, thank you for joining us, Mr. Maslow.
I've literally been here the entire time. But please, just call me Sam.
Where did Abraham first start going to school?
He first attended the City College of New York.
Is it true that he transferred from Cornell?
Indeed, he was not too fond of CCNY, so he decided to head to Cornell, but it became a bit too pricey, so he returned to City College. And later he attended University of Wisconsin to study psychology.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Maslow. It was a pleasure meeting you guys. Now let's bring our next guest. He's well respected in the humanism field. I'd like to welcome you guys to Mr. Bill Nye. How are you doing, Mr. Nye?
I'm feeling very scientific today, Mr. Russell. How about yourself?
I'm great, so let's get right into it. You were named Humanist of the Year in 2010 by the National Humanism Association. Explain how you got that award.
Yes, I was voted Humanist of the Year in 2010. A person who paved the way for me was Abraham Maslow, who also won this same award in 1967.
What exactly is humanism?
Humanism is the belief of relating to an approach which studies the whole person and the uniqueness of each individual.
So what exactly makes you a humanist, Mr. Nye?
Every person is capable and has a desire to move up the hierarchy toward a level of self-actualization.
Our next guest can help us learn more about self-actualization. Everyone welcome Mr. Rogers. How are you doing today, Mr. Rogers?
Thank you for having me today.
What exactly is self-actualization?
Self-actualization is the desire for self-fulfillment, mainly to become what he has potentially. There are 6 different steps in self-actualization.
Can you explain the steps to me?
The 6 different steps are acceptance and realism, problem-centering, spontaneity, solitude, continued freshness of appreciation, and peak experiences. Acceptance and realism is when people have realistic perceptions of themselves and set realistic goals to themselves. Problem-centering is when people that are concerned with solving problems outside of themselves and find a solution in the external world. Spontaneity and self-actualized people are the people who are spontaneous in their internal thoughts and outward behavior. They conform to social expectations, though they are open and unconventional at times. Autonomy and solitude is a need for independence and privacy. They enjoy the company of others, although at times they need to focus on their own potential. Continued freshness of appreciation is the continual sense to view the world with an appreciating wonder and awe. Even simple experiences continues to be a source of inspiration of pleasure. The last characteristic of self-actualization is peak experiences. These peak experiences want the people to enjoy moments of intense joy, wonder, awe, and ecstasy. After these experiences, people feel inspired, strengthened, renewed, and transformed.
Wow, that is something. Do you credit Maslow for your theory?
Yes, I do. I find it very agreeable.
Now we have a professor from University of Pennsylvania, Mr. Jonathan Barron. How are you doing today, Jonathan?
I'm feeling very scientific today, Mr. Russell. How about yourself?
Could you please explain what the hierarchy of needs is all about?
Certainly. The hierarchy of needs is a theory created by Abraham Maslow that can be described easily using the five-stage pyramid. The first stage is basic needs, which includes biological, physiological needs like food, water, and shelter, and warmth. The next stage is safety need, which includes stability, security, and freedom from fear. The third stage of the pyramid is social needs, which includes belongingness, love, friends, family, relationships, that sort of thing. Next is esteem needs, which includes self-esteem, achievement, independence, prestige, and dominance. The last stage of the pyramid is self-actualization. This stage includes realizing personal potential, self-fulfillment, seeking personal growth, and peak experiences.
Why did Abraham Maslow create the hierarchy of needs?
Well, Maslow said that people are motivated to achieve certain needs. When one need is fulfilled, a person seeks to fulfill the next one. A person must satisfy lower-level basic needs before progressing on to meet higher-level growth needs. Once these needs have been reasonably satisfied, one may be able to reach the highest level called self-actualization.
Can you actually achieve self-actualization?
Every person is capable and has a desire to move up the hierarchy toward a level of self-actualization. Unfortunately, progress is often disrupted by failure to meet lower-level needs. Maslow once stated that only 1 in 100 people became fully self-actualized because our society rewards motivation primarily based on esteem, love, and other social needs.
There you have it, everyone. We have learned everything we have to learn about Abraham Maslow and his contributions to psychology in today's field. Thank you for watching the show, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you. In Brooklyn, New York, I was born and raised. In the classroom was where I spent most of my days. Went to different colleges and went to different schools. Always got straight A's, I am not a fool. 1930, I got my degree. You could say I'm becoming a master in psychology. Brooklyn College is where I started teaching. I developed new theories to give psych a different meaning. As my time on earth began to proceed,
Came up with the idea of hierarchy of needs. In 1951 was the head of Psych at Brandeis University. Stated the job till I passed in 1970.